Aloha. This is Emily Thoreau-Threat, host of the Grief and Happiness podcast. Every Friday, I share with you my love notes, giving you a little something to think about as you navigate through your grief journey, finding happiness expanding along your way. And every Tuesday, I post my regular podcast sharing wonderful conversations with people you can relate to and who offer you encouraging ideas and helpful inspiration. I'm so grateful you're joining me and look forward to hearing from you, your thoughts. Aloha. My podcast for today is Incredibly Beautiful. Sometimes I hear a quote that resonates with me, and that happened when I was watching the final episode of This Is Us. Someone said, "The end is not sad. It's just the start of the next incredibly beautiful thing." At the Zoom meeting of the Grief and Happiness Alliance each week, we always start by writing about something that has to do with our grief, and then we talk about what we wrote. This quote reminded me of my husband's, so I suggested that we write about it at our next meeting. Thinking of Ron, this is what I wrote. Ron transitioned on Friday evening. His friends who had gathered stayed through the weekend before going back to the mainland. They took me along with them to go dancing, where one of them played the guitar and sang, and a singer who was a good friend was singing too. They played every Sunday evening on a patio outside a golf club restaurant, where the view of the ocean and the sunset was so beautiful. I sat there in kind of a fog, listening to the music that Ron and I used to enjoy dancing to. They played a slow song that was one of our favorites. I closed my eyes, but the silent tears flowed anyway. When the song finished, there was an unusual silence. I opened my eyes to discover the musicians, all our friends, and even some people I barely knew had circled around me, showing me their love and support. I knew then that I was not alone in my grief and was being held up by their love and strength. Then I thought of another beautiful experience I had when I went to a jazz and blues concert in support of the Children's Arts Education Group, an organization I support because their support has been to my Jacques' granddaughter, she calls me Grandma, and her husband in creating the Maui Jazz Camp. They played an amazing version of Someday My Prince Will Come. I closed my eyes, and my husbands, Jacques and Ron, both appeared in my mind. I danced with them both, one at a time. We swirled and dipped and smiled. The dancing was magical. They were both so strong and handsome, and I felt the presence of them both and their love and their support. A profound experience, and I am grateful. Recalling incredibly beautiful moments can bring you warm smiles and maybe a few tears, and they can remind you of the wonder of loving someone or two so deeply. Do you want more comfort, support, and happiness? Join the Grief and Happiness Alliance. Visit my website at lovingandlivingyourwaythroughgrief.com and read my book, Loving and Living Your Way Through Grief. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, rate it, review it, and binge on all our episodes on grief and happiness. I can't wait to welcome you back to another episode